Right. So I was watching a movie called Run and Gone, and I just couldn't get past the fact that this guy had a messy hair. It sort of distracted from the from the whole movie. So I'm watching the movie and I was so captivated with everything. And then the guy's hair was just, I just keep thinking, well, couldn't the his wardrobe department, couldn't they done a better job?
Someone should tell him it doesn't look very good.
Cut it or something. But then I was thinking, well, is it part of the art? Is it part of is it part of is it
Mm.
that is part? Have they made him to look like that on purpose? But if they have, they've done a really bad job of it because it was just distracting me. Have you ever had anything like that? Where you're so engrossed in something that's happening, then something else is just there and you just can't get past the distraction. Has it ever happened to you?
I'd love to say yes, it has, but I can't. I can't think of anything specifically. I mean, going to watch football,
Yeah.
there's a couple of players in our team. I mean, and really, I said before, you think that their partner or their mum or dad might say to them, "Look, do something with your hair," because I mean, there's a guy who plays for Chelsea, and I think he's Spanish, but his surname is Cucurella, something like that.
Right.
But I mean, it's like you could turn him upside down and he'd be a toilet brush. I mean, his hair is all over the place. And yeah, I don't think they look very good with it, but I guess each to his own, really. I'll apologise to him if he should ever watch our podcast.
Well, I hope it
He's a
doesn't.
good footballer.
I hope it doesn't see it. But I tell you one, talking about sports, I tell you one game that I would never understand. I'm gonna apologize in advance to any fans of this game in advance because I've never been able to get cricket. I've never been able to get it. I mean, I've had one of
Mm.
my moms explained it, and his dad explained it to me years ago, and they explained all the rules and everything, and I soon forget. The moment they finish talking, I'm like, right, what did they just say?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a game I'm a great fan of. I've been over the years. I've been to a couple of Test matches, which are quite exciting, I guess. England against Australia, whatever. But
Right.
it's not a game I particularly like. I think it's too slow. I mean, it can take 5 days,
Yeah.
and of course they're very subject to the weather, which in this country is not great in terms of rain stop play. Um, but there have been some exciting. I mean, when Ian Botham used to play,
Yeah.
he was great to watch. He really was. He was fearless and he was excellent. But yeah, really, it's not a game for me. But I can well appreciate there's some very talented people, batsmen particularly,
Yeah.
who play cricket. And of course, nowadays a lot of women play as they do football and other sports as well. So
Yeah.
clearly, it's popular amongst quite a few people.
I mean that's something that's some welcoming progress that into that women are able to women are play professional football. I love that. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
watching.
it's good.
I,
Sounds a bit
I
suspect that.
know, I know. I
Em.
should, I should have said that, but
No,
I,
I know what you mean. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
I
I
do know
love
what you
watching
mean.
women play tennis. I love watching women play volleyball, basketball, and now football. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
and our women, the national team, they're not doing bad at all, are they? Because they got to the finals the last was it World
But
Cup?
when you think yeah, they won, didn't they? They won the Euros a
Yeah,
couple of years ago. But when you think that women were banned from playing football
yeah.
until 1972, I think it was, having been banned for about 50 years by all accounts,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous. I mean, as if, the male football association could stop women forming teams, and yet that's what happened. But
Oh,
no, they're good. Um, I go sometimes with Kimberly. Actually, we go to watch Brighton's women's team
right.
because they play here in Crawley. That's their home ground for the most part. And Palace have got a very good women's team as well. We've seen them a few times. So, yeah, it's good. It's a different game to the men's game. It's obviously not as quick or sometimes brutal, got to
Yeah,
say, but there's a lot of skill. There's a lot of skill in the women's game,
yeah.
and yeah, I like watching it. I do. There's a game on later on, I think, on TV between Chelsea and Arsenal women. So I expect I might have a glance at that, see what it's like
Oh, that was tomorrow. Is it today?
today, later on. Yeah,
Right. I saw
probably
it.
on Sky, I think.
All right. I saw it advertised on telly, and I thought it was tomorrow, so it's today. Yeah, yeah. I'll try and watch that. I just think we've come a long way as a society.
Mm.
With the inclusion of women in different sports. There was something else that I thought about, but that would be for next time, and it's the fact that it's now been well, it's now been there's some difficult decisions to make with the inclusion of the transgender. So do you allow men that's transgendered from being a man to a woman to play in a women's game, or what? Where I think that the sports association is having the same problem, aren't they? I don't know how
I
they're going.
think now, I think most people, most organisations are
Yeah,
coming around to the what I think is the correct view that someone who used to be or someone who's biologically a man should
yeah,
not be allowed to
right.
play women's sports or women's games because already a lot of women's world records going back years have been completely smashed by biological males who now say they're women. So yeah, I think a lot of people are coming around to that view. It's not right that
Yeah,
that happens,
yeah,
in my view.
yeah. But do you think it'll be wrong? It'll be right the other way around. So a transgendered women.
Well, it wouldn't really happen, would it? Because if you're biologically a woman and you become a man,
Yeah,
that's not really going to affect men's records of weightlifting or running, football, because biologically women are not as physically strong as males.
right.
So I don't think the same problem arises there.
Yeah. But if they allowed it in men's, then there'll be it'll be there'll be a debate for allowing it in women's as well, wouldn't there?
That's an interesting point because
Yeah.
because the biological male who's become a woman
Yeah.
could almost rightly say, well, equality for all. It's got to be the same the other way around. And there is, I think, some people say it would be better to have a bracket for transgender athletes, transgender sports people. But again, whether many of those will be content with that, I don't know. It's clearly a very difficult area for people to make decisions on. But I think ultimately it's got to be based on fairness. And I think women talk about women's safe spaces,
Yeah.
and I think they should be women's safe spaces, so that a biological male, whatever they are now,
Yeah.
should not be able to go into those spaces.
Yeah.
It seems to me to be fairly obvious and fairly cut and dried. Okay, I mean, I'm not affected by it, but I think I would have the same view no matter what.
Yeah.
You've got to have women's safe spaces.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do support that. Well, on that note, I think it's it's a good note to say goodbye to our listeners and viewers. You've
Yes,
been
indeed. Thank you for listening. Thank you for
yeah,
watching.
absolutely. So you've been listening to us ramble on, Trevor and I.
We have rambled a bit today. I am con-
So so I've been Emmy Hikins, and you've been watching and listening to the Alien Spaceship. It's goodbye from me.
and it's goodbye from. Hang on one sec. Goodbye from me. Goodbye.
Don't be deceived by the by the mask. That's Trevor Gear there. Right, so it's goodbye from us.
Goodbye. Goodbye from me.